Pontiac Robotics Archive is an analog horror series that follows a disturbed android. As of now, there are a total of 20 tapes on the channel that complete the entirety of its first season, and today we'll be diving into each one. So, let's get straight into it. This tape wastes no time in welcoming us into the unsettling presence of the android, observed from just a few feet away, illuminated only by a single lamp. Its appearance resembles that of a severely worn down human as we zoom in for a close-up on its face. Distorted carnival music fills the air, accompanied by a piercing scream, and you may have noticed it attempts to speak with us. Oddly enough, it does, but the entire tape is played in reverse. And once restored, we're confronted with two instances of its speech.
Utopia orthodontist. Hello there.
The first, Utopia Orthodontics, which I hadn't caught my first watch through, as it's a bit of a foreshadow that will play into the narrative. And the second, a simple greeting, which takes on a more ominous tone when paired with the eerie atmosphere. With this, tape 1 comes to a close, laying the groundwork for the horrors that await in the tapes to come.
Okay, Meg. It's time for your operation. Open wide. Oh dear, have you been brushing twice a day? Oh, what is this? Meg, you have some gunk in your teeth. All right, time to clean up. Oops, sorry. Hope that didn't hurt too much. Oh, does not look like you have been brushing enough. Let me get my other tool.
Here we learn Meg is the name of the android, and she is visited by a doctor to check up on her teeth. As for their attire, they wear yellow rubber gloves and a white mask, keeping their identity anonymous. But why exactly does a robot need to brush twice a day? It shouldn't need to eat, right? Now, you could imagine if we hadn't understood what Meg said in the first tape, we would be completely lost. However, her saying Utopia Orthodontics could help explain why a checkup is occurring, and because this individual is administering it, I'll refer to them as the doctor. Due to the camera zoom in at the beginning and panning when the doctor turns to look at it, it's evident that there is at least one more person with them. In tape 3, we are exposed to a news report heavily manipulated and played in reverse, followed by a shot of Meg, accompanied by a conglomeration of noise. Once the broadcast is reversed, we receive this.
Last night a robbery occurred at America's Convention Center. A robber broke in and stole a director's android from a utopia visiting displace. No further plans to have a criminal list.
The local police are on high alert for evidence.
The heavy distortion makes it difficult to discern the exact details. However, what is understood is crucial to unraveling the story. The clip reveals that a robbery occurred the night before, during which someone stole something from the people at Utopia, a place we know to be in orthodontics. But what exactly is there of value at a place so mundane? Now that we have been introduced to Meg, we are shown the tragedy of her day-to-day life. Starting with tape 4, it's her birthday and she is given a cake to celebrate.
Happy birthday, Meg.
But as the candles are lit, she falls forward, ultimately engulfing her face in flames. In 5, we witness Meg's face continuing to deteriorate, possibly as a result of the incident involving the cake. We see someone injecting a fluid near her lip, likely an anesthetic, which causes her head to tilt backwards instantly. She is then carried up and dropped down a flight of stairs. In this tape, Meg finds herself accused of breaking a window, leading to punishment that is just outright torture. But before it's administered, we get a close-up of her face, where her facial structure looks drastically different than the previous tape. Stripped of her ability to see and speak, she endures unbearable suffering as her knee is pushed beyond its limits.
That should teach you, Meg.
Followed by confinement in a dark closet. Shockingly, it's revealed that the perpetrator behind this cruelty is none other than the doctor himself, who declares,
You misbehaved. You broke my window.
exposing the twisted reality within his own home. This revelation has changed my perception of Meg, initially introduced as a menacing presence, now revealed as a victim, subject to unimaginable cruelty. As long as the doctor is in possession of the android, they are unfortunately stuck in this hopeless reality. Jumping to tape 7, we see Meg sitting on the grass outside, or at least what's left of her. In 8, we get an obscure shot of Meg playing on the piano, with the entire first half played in reverse.
Friday, September 6th. On sound. Friday, September. On sound. Many more followed this weekly religiously.
Despite my best efforts, deciphering the audio beyond the date and the word religiously proved challenging. The clip concludes with the disturbing image of Meg falling backwards off the stool and smashing her head on the ground. And just like that, as we head into tape 9, Meg is no longer recognizable. Sadly, it only gets worse from here, as she is thrown to the ground and has her head completely destroyed. A subsequent shot shows Meg in agony on a field of grass, with background ambience that sounds as if she's been set on fire by this hooded individual who stands in her line of sight. However, the footage abruptly jumps to a news station.
House in blaze. Woman found inside burned alive. Homeowner missing. No evidence found on homeowner's whereabouts.
The scene then returns to Meg, who's given a completely new face, this time made of plastic. This tape, which begins and ends in the doctor's home, presents a distorting narrative timeline. The sounds of a woman screaming and what resembles burning in the footage are disturbing, especially when juxtaposed with the news report of a woman being burned alive in a house, which is only amplified when no one has heard from the homeowner. After the events of the previous clip, we witnessed the same individual picking up a photograph before a sudden transition, where Meg is now placed outside in the pouring rain, a situation that will kill the android if left under these conditions. In no time, she begins to malfunction, filling the air with smoke as they begin to spark. In 11, the opening shot offers a perspective from Meg's point of view as she is essentially dying, confirming her identity as the one in the previous clip. Then, the hooded individual approaches and delivers a violent punch to Meg's new plastic head, sending it several meters back. It's a decision they'll soon come to regret. As the footage cuts to them now standing further away, seizing the opportunity, Meg strikes back, launching her leg at them. A faint scream is heard as the attack cuts all visuals, but the audio still persists, leaving us with the message from Meg.
This is your fault, Sylvester.
With this statement, Meg places blame on an individual named Sylvester. Aside from the android, this is the only other name we know of in the story so far, which means it could very well be the Doctor. Stepping away from the tapes, we're presented with a commercial from none other than Utopia Orthodontics.
Welcome to Utopia Orthodontics. Our delightful crew is here to help you to your long journey to a perfect smile. We offer almost 6 unique procedures to assure that your distinct oral situation can be fixed. It only took Jake 7 years to achieve this perfect smile. And this week only, we offer a 10% off sale on children's headgear and 5% off 2-week warranty on children's braces. Utopia Orthodontics. Your smile will show.
Want more from your raisin brand and more of the same? Go nuts!
This situation is perplexing. You see, the Doctor is the one cleaning Meg's teeth in tape 2, but for what reason? It's possible that Utopia's introduction as an orthodontics clinic explains this, suggesting that the Doctor may be affiliated with this company, but I can't wrap my head around the robbery. Given his abusive behavior towards Meg, it's reasonable to suggest that he is the perpetrator. However, if he indeed worked at Utopia, why resort to theft? Unless what was stolen was something significant, something that couldn't be discreetly taken from the company's inventory. And as for the glitches in the commercial, they only add to the ominous nature of Utopia Orthodontics, which includes this image during the following commercial, where we are shown someone standing in a warehouse, inferring from the unfinished roof and the vacant space behind them. In the tapes that follow, there's a subtle shift in the footage as we are exposed to more of Meg and the Doctor's history, revealing a sick plot twist. Consuming the next couple of tapes can be confusing because they are not played chronologically. In 12, the phrase "you won't be happy" is looped as someone encounters Meg, accompanied by a note laying on the carpet. As they approach, reverse audio plays the phrase, In 13, before the footage rolls, we're presented with an image that resembles a child's bedroom. The scene then transitions to the middle of the night, where someone appears to be searching for Meg and stumbles across her original face and hand. The search continues into the following day, where the remains of Meg are found on the road. Although she is still very much alive as she attacks them, it's unclear what transpired between this point and the present, but Meg is brought back to the doctor's house, along with a message as shown in the previous tape. The note seems a little all over the place, and the fact that it's written in Latin doesn't help, but it mentions that Megan was resurrected, which I believe to be Meg's full name. It includes Meg being captured, the field, and the decision to bring her back, ending with the final bullet point: they should be prayed for. Immediately after, footage from within Utopia Orthodontics is shown, likely depicting the events of the robbery in tape 3. Here, we discover who's responsible for the robbery, and of course, it's none other than the doctor, though there is something that doesn't make sense to me. The door in the final shot is the same door within his own home, so maybe this shot is not from the same event. The following tape opens with Megan, no longer wearing the plastic mask, but instead, bearing her original face, or at least the scraps of it that could be salvaged. The doctor announces that he has new teeth for her, but instead of fixing them properly, he randomly places them on her face before pressing her into the wall. This disturbing act is accompanied by yet another piece of reversed audio, echoing the very same question we all have.
Who keeps fixing her?
Tape 15 emerges as the most important piece in the Pontiac Robotics Archive, weaving together various loose ends and revealing crucial information.
Daisy, give me your answer.
Wife torches house after finding out her husband.
I'm half crazy, all for the love of you.
Had an affair with a co-worker at local orthodontics center. Their daughter was saved by the husband and they both made it out alive.
It won't be a stylish marriage. I can't afford a marriage. But you'll look sweet. A puppy sweet. A bicycle don't for you.
His wife's fate was less pleasant. Megan's burned body was found, and police speculate she was unable to open the window to escape. Sylvester suffered many deformations at the face and hands.
A news report, likely the morning after a tragic house fire mentioned in tape 9, provides context as Megan's burned body is discovered as a result of her inability to escape through a window. Meanwhile, the scene is juxtaposed with the shot of the android lighting up in sparks, accompanied by a distorted version of Daisy Bell in the background, which of course is one of the earliest songs sung by a computer back in 1961. However, the most damning revelation comes with the confirmation that Meg was once a real human being. She had a husband and a daughter, and upon discovering her husband's affair at Utopia Orthodontics, blind anger consumed her and she set her house ablaze, tragically ending her own life in the process. Or at least that's the story we're made to believe. This sheds light on the message from tape 11. This is your fault, Sylvester. Identifying her husband as Sylvester. The implication that the doctor is indeed her husband raises questions about his motives for creating an android version of Megan. As the truth begins to surface, we anticipate the introduction of Meg's daughter, who we are just moments away from meeting.
Daddy said that man works at Pontiac Robotics. He makes cool robots. My favorite robot is Roger. He is a funny rooster. That looks like Mommy.
We do not talk about her, Sarah.
Yay, Roger.
Sense the wild orbers.
The footage unfolds at a warehouse where Sarah observes a shipment. Noting that the name on the box bears a resemblance to her mother's name, I believe this marks the birth of the android Meg, which likely occurred sometime before the events depicted in the first tape. Judging solely on how new her face appears here, for whatever reason, her father is not in the vicinity, as Sarah identifies the person moving the box as someone who works at Pontiac Robotics, suggesting that the company may be involved in the creation of the android. This inference is further supported by Sarah's mention of her favorite robot, Roger, followed by two more playing musical instruments. Then we are transported to footage from within Sarah's own home, captured during an unknown night.
What's that? Probably Daddy's dentist machine. There you are, Rosie. Oh no, my flashlight.
Sarah descends the stairs in search of her toy named Rosie. As she searches her home using a flashlight, she hears a noise emanating from a room which she attributes to her father's dentist machine, which could very much be what was stolen from the clinic. Just as Sarah retrieves her toy, her flashlight suddenly dies, leaving her in complete darkness. We're left with only audio capturing the sound of footsteps. Whether they belong to Sarah or someone else remains unclear. In the footage, we witness someone diligently working on an android laying on the floor in the center of a room. The presence of the stairs in the initial frame indicate that we are inside the same home. However, the lack of dialogue and the height of this individual suggest that they are not Sarah. After lurking from a distance, they are noticed and attempt to run away and use their phone, but they are unsuccessful. This person working on Meg is most likely Sylvester, but it appears they are wearing a black mask instead of the white one. We don't know who this stalker was, and what they were trying to achieve is also a mystery. Tape 19 is a short clip where we are presented with a close-up of present-day Meg, revealing a disturbing obsession with fixing her. This fixation is underscored by a reverse audio that declares,
I need to fix her.
This revelation hints at a deeper psychological complex surrounding Meg's existence and the motivations driving Sylvester. And with that, we have reached the final tape of the series, the only one with an actual title, Burning the Android. There is no context on how this came to be, but Meg is finally set free, as it's a 10-minute shot that showcases the burning of Meg the android. Toward the end, there is footage taken from different perspectives during the events that had occurred in the home, before one last shot of the fire. Pontiac Robotics Archive is an analog horror series that dives into themes of identity, obsession, and abuse. This android, first displayed as an ominous robot, has a tragic history, and even after death, her husband would not let her rest as he worked with Pontiac Robotics to create Meg, who was tortured throughout the entirety of the season up until the final tape. I'm just left wondering, what was Sylvester's motive behind creating her? What could possibly have had him so obsessed? Also, what was the deal with the home intruder? And what happened to Sarah at the end of tape 17? If you enjoyed the series, I recommend going and supporting them. Of course, if you like videos like this one, I suggest subscribing to the channel, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.